In part one of the series, I talked about how the VIA Institute was able to develop this survey. And again, the survey has come up with the data points, 24 data points, 24 virtues or character strengths, if you will, that are unique to every person on the planet. And the character strength survey will give you some insight into how you approach life, because you will, when you take the survey, you will be given your top 5 character strengths. Now, that's not to say you don't have any of the other character strengths. Of course you do. You have the remaining 19. The top 5 character strengths that you have are the way that you navigate or approach life, the way you navigate or approach your work, your relationships, situations of stress, situations of happiness and joy. It just gives you some insight, because if you've been saying to yourself, geez, I think I've been doing all the right things. I know I'm a good person. I just don't know why. You know, either I'm just not anchoring the relationships that I need to anchor. I don't know why all of a sudden, you know, I'm starting to get the cold shoulder from some people within the family. I don't know why I was passed over for a promotion opportunity, or you know, some kind of a project that would let me, you know, showcase some of my strengths. This is the moment. These are the moments, those crucial moments when you want to start thinking about, where am I in my self-awareness, and where am I in the development of my emotional intelligence? And again, using and knowing your top 5 character strengths can really give you a glimpse into what strengths do you use to navigate your life. So here's how we get ourselves tripped up. We have these wonderful strengths, and then we overuse them. And it's in the overuse of these character strengths that we tend to have a blind spot into how we are affecting other people. So just quickly, let's remember about self-awareness. One of the key subcomponents of self-awareness is to really understand how your presence, how your actions, how your words land in a room full of other people. How does your energy affect the energy of the room, or affect the energy of the people that you're in a relationship with, or you're in a unit with? So one of the key assessment questions to understanding how do you affect the energy in groups, or how do you affect the energy in a meeting, is to ask yourself, all right, if everything is hitting the fan and you're having the worst day, and everybody has to come together and say, listen, we need the best of everybody to really work this problem to a really good solution. When you walk in the room, do your coworkers or your family members say, thank God, or oh God? Because if it's thank God, then you know you're doing something right. And if it's oh God, or you're feeling this kind of pullback to the fact that you have joined the group, well, that's a heads up that really some of your behavior is probably overusing strengths in a manner that sucks the energy out of the room and is either standoffish to people, or doesn't really, at the end of the day, add to the solution. So the 2 character strengths I want to address in this part 2 is, number 1, fairness. Now, it's a fabulous strength, all right? And I would imagine that anybody in a leadership position would absolutely want to be known that they were fair. And I would imagine that if you're a parent or a grandparent, or you're in some kind of family caregiving situation, you would want to be known as the fair person. But if you overuse your sense of fairness, how can that show up? So let's talk about a meeting, okay? And let's talk about a registered nurse sitting at a meeting. And people are now trying to brainstorm, and they're trying to come up with an initiative, and they're trying to, you know, put some possibilities around a new initiative on the table. And in your zeal to be fair, you are going to give the 360-degree view of the initiative. So people, more than likely in that meeting, will probably say, well, there's a possibility we could do this, and maybe we could do this, and well, how about that? And there's a sense of positive energy, and perhaps even a little momentum getting generated around this new initiative. And because you feel this overwhelming need to be fair, you are going to now offer something that you think is extremely valuable to people so that they can have all the information when they're trying to make a decision. And in doing so, you start to talk about the downside of the project. Well, you know, this could happen, and you know, the last time we tried it, this happened. And in that well-intended, well-meaning offering, you are coming across as Negative Nelly. And I can promise you one thing, the next time this group has a meeting to talk about this initiative, you are not going to be invited. So here's where you can, your fairness misrepresents you as negative. The other way fairness can come across as negative is when you start to push back on feedback. So that if I am saying to you, you know, can I give you feedback on that interaction, or can I give you some feedback on the project that you just handed in? And I am doing my best to give you important, valuable feedback so that you can do better the next time. And your reaction then is, yeah, but, and how about this? And, well, that was, you know, would you, you know, yeah, that was the nursing piece, but, you know, we couldn't get the doctors to do this. And you're offering the person giving you feedback as much information as possible, or so you think, so that they can keep their feedback in perspective, when all you're actually doing is coming across as defensive. I see this happen all the time. And then when the person offering you feedback says to you, well, there's no reason to become defensive, you pull back and are offended by it and say, I'm not defensive. I'm just trying to share with you all the information because I am overusing my strength of fairness. Stop doing this. You're going to short circuit your career. You are going to really interfere with some important relationships, whether those are professional or private relationships. If people don't feel that they can speak to you without you offering what comes across as excuses or reasons or pushback or defensiveness, then what people are going to do are just, yep, okay, and you're never going to get the valuable feedback that you need in order to be able to do the work that you need to do in order to have the life that you're looking to have, whether that's in relationships, whether that's professional, whether that's on a one-to-one with family, or whether that is in a group initiative or meeting at work. The next strength I want to talk about is the strength of forgiveness. Now, is anybody ever going to say that forgiveness isn't a wonderful quality to have? In fact, I think it's probably the virtue of angels, isn't it? And I just really want to say here and now that, you know, forgiveness is not necessarily letting the other person off the hook. It's really putting down the pain that's associated with whatever you need to forgive so that you can move forward in your life. And it is a fabulous, absolutely fabulous strength to have, especially if you are, you know, this is how you're leading your life. So when would we overuse our sense of forgiveness? We do it all the time. And we do it probably most often with those in our closest circle around us. People let us down. There are those people who, for whatever reason, more than likely nothing to do with what you did or did not do, are unable to accept the challenges of adult life. And they just can't get their acts together. Some of them engage in addictive behavior. Some of them engage in those addictive behaviors can be anything from a substance to gambling, to infidelity in a relationship. And if you are overusing your strength of forgiveness, can you see how that is really going to start to become a source of disrespect for yourself? That if you're constantly hearing from the same people over and over again why they can't get their act together, why can't they not go to a 12-step program, why can't they go to Gamblers Anonymous, why can't, you know, they be loyal and faithful in a relationship, if you are constantly pushing the finish line so that people don't have to be held accountable to their part of the adult bargain, and you're oh so ready to forgive again, well, quite honestly, that's called enabling, and you are sincerely part of the problem. It is not helpful to the person who you are forgiving, and it's certainly not helpful to you. In fact, it's quite disrespectful to you. Same thing in the work world. Staff look to leadership for leadership. All right? If somebody is constantly disruptive, if somebody's constantly engaging in uncivil behavior on the unit, or worse yet, bullying behavior on the unit, if somebody just can't get their professional act together and you're constantly moving the finish line because they're asking you for forgiveness one more time, and you overuse your capacity and strength for forgiveness to now condone and enable as opposed to be the leader on the unit, well, then forgiveness is no longer serving you well. At least the overuse of forgiveness is no longer serving you well. And like any other character strength, it is misrepresenting you to the world. You may feel that you're being forgiven, but how you're being represented to the world is as someone who can't draw a finish line and keep to it, that will be enabling, that could be a pushover, certainly not necessarily someone to be respected. And I am certain that's not what you intend. So if these insights into self-awareness have been helpful, and you would like to take again your free survey at the VIA Institute website and find out what your top 5 character strengths are, and then you would like to work on these so that you can more authentically represent yourself to the world, please contact me at my website, www.mfwconsultants.com, or email me at mfwconsultants@gmail.com. And let's get together and perhaps do a little coaching, 1, 2, 3 sessions, and see if we can't help you become more aware and start to remove some of the blind spots that you have to these wonderful strengths that drive you, and make sure that you are using them in an appropriate way and not overusing them and self-sabotaging.